Hey, welcome to Rebel Base, IGN's weekly Star Wars show. Get your foot down.
Hey everyone, we're back. We were both at E3 last week, and we've played Battlefront.
We have.
A bit, actually. We played the 20v20.
That was awesome.
At Walker Assault mode, and I played co-op. Did you play co-op?
I didn't get to play the co-op, no.
What we're going to go through is 9 new things we learned about Battlefront.
Okay, what do we learn?
So first off, it looks really good.
Did we learn that?
It looks really good. Well, we haven't seen it running before. I haven't seen it running before at Star Wars Celebration. Because everything we'd seen before was kind of, it said in-engine. We've not seen it actually running with the HUD.
It looks amazing,
proper gameplay. And we saw it during 2 press conferences, EA's and Sony.
Yeah.
And we watched it with all the IGN editors. And I think everyone were like, because it said captured on the PS4, we're like,
yeah, whatever.
Well, yeah, but what has it been like enhanced and stuff? But we actually played it on a PS4, could see the PS4 running, not that kind of thing where it's like, yeah, it's definitely running on Xbox One and PS4. A couple of years ago, the door swung up and it's a PC.
Yeah,
a giant PC. And it looked fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's really good.
So much good detail.
Yeah.
Because they said that when it was announced that they're scanning environments, but it felt like that. The detail on the environments was amazing. So I played one level on Tatooine and the rock formation's so detailed.
I didn't get to see that.
And the same with Hoth, like if you went up to the snow, the way it like crunched and compacted.
Oh yeah, that was mad.
And if you're in a trench, like cold air blew over the top. And it was kind of like crystal and it shone in the light.
Like even though it's like a multiplayer game, I was like stopping myself and just looking around and dying in the end. But like it was really frustrating because all I wanted to do was walk around and I kind of like, it's awesome, but at the same time I was like, I want this to be a single player thing because I just want to explore rather than like, because the mission you're in is obviously like you're taking down AT-ATs and it's like, it's just constant, just like boom, 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 boom. You got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do that. I was just like, I just want to look around at this amazing world.
Do that.
I could. I'm
it
sure.
Looks like it also sends a
I mean, there's
scale
20
with
of me, so yeah, if one person's off, probably didn't.
I just recon. But it's like the sense of scale is amazing when you're running under an AT-AT looking up.
Yeah.
But what they do really well, and Destiny kind of does that, so it's you don't know where like the playable map stops and like the world continues.
You have no
it's blended
idea,
really well, so it doesn't look like you are on a map. In the corner of a world. It looks like you're on the surface of a planet.
Definitely, yeah.
Which is so cool.
Yeah, it's mad. That was really, really good. Number 2, Survivor mode is great fun.
Yeah, Survivor mode is, in co-op, it's kind of wave assault.
Okay.
So I played it with Brian in the States, and we were like on Tatooine, and we had, in that mode, there were 6 waves to survive, but in the final it'll go up to 15. And
so does it start off like little men and then start like Ewoks?
Yeah. So it starts off with rocks.
Yeah.
No, it starts off with Jawas now. It starts off with just like bog standard stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Who are pretty easy to kill. There's quite a few of them. And then it scales to shock troopers.
Cool.
And then ATST comes. And it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And there's scout troopers with sniper rifles.
Yeah.
And it's just a really fun mode. Like I like wave assault in things like Gears. And it just works really well.
And it's on Tatooine as well.
It's on Tatooine. We can play it on any map. The thing that we found out actually playing it is there's an active reload.
That is awesome. You feel like such a badass as well.
Yeah, because with blasters you don't have to worry about ammo, picking up ammo, because they just recharge on cells. But if you fire them just like consistently and relentlessly, it just overheats.
Yeah.
So you get this kind of like half circle on the screen, and it kind of cools down through a section. And if you can just press reload at that point, you reload much quicker.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you get a damage boost like in Gears when you do an active reload, or whether it's just a reload quicker sort of thing.
Well, the one thing, like, I think we were talking about the HUD just now, like, one of the things that really kind of took me out of it, and I didn't have time to sort of check because it was like, literally like, they rush you in, you play 20v20 and you go off. But like, when you shoot people, you get like all the things that come up, and like when you're playing a first-person shooter, and it's like that really took me out of the game a little bit because it was just like I got all my bonuses and stuff for taking people down. Obviously, I got bonuses for taking people down, and like in certain ways, and I was like, I don't care. Like I don't care about any of that. I don't care about it until I'm actually spending it on loadouts and stuff like that.
Yeah, because at the end, like you level up quite considerably with all the perks, but. Maybe you can turn it off, but I guess that's kind of the genre it is. Like,
yeah, I suppose. But I want to pretend that I'm in Star Wars, and there's no like text and stuff flying through the air in Star Wars, except right at the beginning. Next.
That is literally the first thing you see in Star Wars.
There's different types of stormtroopers. You get the regular, the storm, the shock, the scout, and the snow.
Those are all the ones that we saw in the 2 playable bits at E3.
Yeah.
And they all like have different loadouts, so they all pose different problems. I think the shock troopers, I think when I was playing the survival mode, the shock troopers, I think the ones that had kind of jetpacks.
Right.
So what you get as one of your perks, which we'll get onto in a minute, is a jump pack.
Right.
So it's not a jetpack; you can just blast off.
I love that.
It
Yeah.
seemed like some of the troopers I fought, I think maybe it was the shock. They actually had jetpacks.
Right. Okay.
So they could fly and hover in midair. So they have like an aerial threat. And one of my favourite things I did was I shot one of them, and he like spun out of control.
Yes.
And he smashed into another stormtrooper on the ground and killed it. So
That's awesome.
They're properly incompetent in the game too.
Yeah, I killed Luke with just the jump pack, like where you get that one jump and then it like it's
pretty good though, isn't
refreshes. But yeah, it's pretty good. But I killed Luke because I was Rebels. He was the Empire, and I like jump pack backwards. And it got my gun out, took him down like that, and he was just like, had no idea what was going on. But you feel like such a badass, and then watch the replay on his screen then of me just jumping back out of this trench. Yeah, jumping back out of this trench and taking him down because like he didn't even know I was there. So he's like running over, bam, dead. Unlucky Luke. Next, piloting vehicles takes time. I was rubbish at piloting vehicles.
So what did you fly?
I flew an X-wing,
Okay.
and I was rubbish at it.
Good. So the way that this works is these kind of, when you do kind of objectives around the map, these icons kind of come out, and they are Empire and Rebel insignia depending on what side you're playing as, I think. And if you collect one, it might be like a rocket launcher, it might be able to call in an airstrike, or sometimes you can get into a vehicle. And when I played as Empire in the 20v20, and I piloted a TIE fighter, and I didn't think it was too bad. Like again, I only played it once, but it seemed a bit simplified. Like it didn't seem like super complex flying controls where you could. It felt like I was passing over the airfield back and forth.
Yeah, that's what I kind of felt like.
But
it felt like I was too far away when I started. It felt like because I was really, really high up because I was flying around for ages, and I was looking at my radar going, where are these people? Maybe it's just snow covering up. And then I just like looked down. I was like, oh right, they're just like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet below me. I was like, how has this happened? Why am I starting here?
And also when you're in the vehicle, you have power-ups as well. Like you can increase your speed, which is on a cooldown. Like a lot of the items, and we'll get onto that, are on cooldowns to various degrees.
One other thing that with the vehicles that I didn't get a chance to sort of check out properly, and I've been trying to look for it and no one really has seen it, is, so when you're taking down, when you're having a go at the AT-AT, so like you have to do a lot of stuff before you're able to actually take it down. And when you do certain things, then it's like, right, everyone focus your fire on the thing. I didn't notice that if you crashed into it, would that have taken a lot of damage off it?
Maybe.
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking.
So.
Yeah, because I did crash at one point when it wasn't in that state, and
you just have kamikaze technique.
No, but I was thinking about it. I wonder if that's an actual thing, because when I exploded, it was a massive explosion, but it took no energy off it because it wasn't in that bit where the shields were down. Where damage was taken.
Maybe if the shields are up, you can't.
But the shields were down. I wonder if it takes a hit if you fly into it.
But maybe the trade-off with that is,
stop
if the
fighting
shields are down, you might as well take it down fully rather than take damage. You might as well snag it.
Just like to know.
And live.
Just want to know.
And live. So I took some cheeky notes, and I got all 4 of the weapons that are in the demo.
Excellent.
Do you want me to tell you what they are?
Yes, please.
You've got the DH-17 blaster pistol, which is a standard issue military sidearm in the Planetary Security Forces.
Nerd.
It's got an optimum range of 30 meters. We've got the DLC-19 heavy blaster rifle. Yeah. It's more powerful than popular E11 blaster.
Is it? Bloody hell.
It's actually, that's the gun that Chewie uses in A New Hope when he rescues Princess Leia.
Really?
This one. Yes.
Oh, excellent.
Nice little fact.
Yeah.
The E11 blaster rifle, which
Classic E11, yeah.
What are you saying? You're mocking it, but that is actually the standard.
I like it.
That is the AK-47 of Star Wars.
I like it, come on.
That's the AK-47 of Star Wars.
Okay, right.
That's the one used by all Stormtroopers.
The AK-47 of Star Wars, it's fine. What else?
Okay, A280.
What's that?
It's kind of sidearm blaster.
Lovely.
Right, you do your point.
Number 7, hands, loadouts. So we have the barrage, which is a grenade launcher style turn fire. That's really cool, that is.
Yeah, so you can, at the start up on like the player select, you could choose between 2 sets of 3 abilities.
Right, okay.
And they called them hands.
Yeah. But they are loadouts, yeah.
Yeah,
I like that.
essentially. Yeah. Oh, but like, yeah, and kind of like perks as well, I guess.
Ion shot, I don't think I had this.
Yeah, it's just like a more powerful like shot that you could. But so one of the 3, so 2 of the 3 abilities are on cooldown.
Right.
And then the center one which in the 2 plays I did were Iron Shot and Shield, were limited use.
Right, okay.
So you had like 5 of them, I think.
Yeah. And the jump pack, which we already talked about, which is really, really cool. But it's just awesome to see just everyone jumping around the map.
Yeah.
Like, but it's not, because it's got a cooldown on it, it's not gratuitous, so you don't feel like cheated or anything like that, which is really, really good. You've also got Thermal Detonator, which I didn't get to use.
It's just like the Empire's kind of hand grenade.
Yeah. The Personal Shield, I didn't get to use that, but I did use the Team Shield.
Do you see?
Is that the same thing?
Maybe, like, if you stood in it. But the shields are awesome.
They're
when
really
you see
good,
them around, like, you can't shoot out of it,
no.
you can shoot in. So it's kind of an interesting tactical thing.
Yeah.
And I thought was amazing, if you're running across the battlefield and you run in and out of them, like, the sound muffles.
Oh, yeah, it does. It's
and
amazing.
when you're in them and blaster fire comes in and hits it, it makes this really, like, satisfying thud. Like, this like muted sound and it's this like thud hitting it.
Yeah, no, it's really good. Which brings us on to a really good one. The sound effects are fantastic.
They are so good.
Yeah.
They are so good. It's just like, it's so easy. Like, everyone who played it at E3 were like, oh, it's like being in Star Wars.
Yeah.
And like, visuals help, music helps definitely.
Yeah,
but
music's
sound
amazing.
effects, because they're so frequent and you're kind of controlling it.
Yeah.
It's really satisfying.
It is really, really satisfying. I really like that. And finally, number 9, Luke Skywalker owned the battlefield.
Yeah.
I didn't see Luke Skywalker in mine.
Unless you played against him, you just kill him.
Yeah, I didn't see Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, so when we were playing, a colleague of mine, he by his own admission, Zach, who's one of the video producers, you can read a piece he wrote about this on the site.
Yeah.
He, by his own admission, is terrible at first-person shooters.
Right.
Was doing really badly at the game.
Yeah.
But he managed to become Luke Skywalker.
How?
I don't know where he picked something, and he just became Luke Skywalker, and he just started bossing it. Like, he was just running around, just killing everyone.
With a lightsaber?
Yeah.
I didn't get to see Luke Skywalker when I played.
So it's kind of an interesting dynamic that you can unsettle the balance of the game through those key characters.
It's like, I didn't actually get to see Luke Skywalker, so I kind of really feel like I've missed out a little bit.
Been cheated.
I have been cheated.
Oh, so earlier on when you said you killed Luke, you mean Luke Kamali rather than
Luke
Skywalker?
Yeah,
I think in the context of a Star Wars show, people
I
might
should probably
go to
tell
Luke
people.
Skywalker first.
No, it was Luke Kamali. But
good.
not Luke Skywalker. I would never kill Luke Skywalker.
Good.
But I would kill Luke Kamali over and over again. So, those are the 9 things we learned about Star Wars Battlefront. Are you excited for the game? Let us know. rebelbase@ign.com. It's time for another edition of Force Feedback, the section of the show that's named the best on all the shows of IGN.
Just get on with it.
And I explained that in a really good way. This is one of my favorite bits of feedback we've ever had, because we've actually helped this person. This is Chris Thomas, and he's writing in to talk about the episode we did about Black Angel that me and Alex did a couple of weeks back. So it's basically about the movie that they're going to make the full version of. But he writes in and says, thank you so much for finally ending a quest that started 35 years ago when I went to see Empire Strikes Back as a very excited 13-year-old. I saw the short Black Angel and was absolutely knocked out by it. It really fitted Tony with Empire and was a greater starter before the main meal to come. However, I've been unable to find as much as a hint about the movie since, partially because I misremembered the title as Dark Angel, so all my searching was doomed to failure. Now, thanks to you, I can obsess over the great childhood memory. And he goes on to say that, actually, we talked about how mental it was. They showed like a 30-minute short before an actual film. Apparently, it used to happen a lot. Or they would do other things as well. Like he tells about this really good, there was a dance competition before Jaws, where you could win like a Jaws pendant. Like, going to the cinema wasn't just pop into the cinema. It was an actual event thing. And they tried to make it like that all the time.
I'm not really one for dancing in general, but
it was a roller dance as well.
If there was a Jaws pendant at stake.
You think you'd have a go?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Next up, Dan has written in. Hey, Dan. Not sure if it's just me, but it seems like Sullust is getting a lot of references in the new comics.
Yeah.
From references and characters in Heir to the Jedi and A New Dawn to the Alderaan Enclave in the Leia comic, as well as it being a key location in Battlefront. Is this leading up to Sullust appearing in future films, or some other new canon? Maybe a location for the Rebels' new base, or a key location in future anthologies?
It does feel like we've heard more and more about Sullust all the time now.
The fact that there's only 4 planets. I know Jakar is DLC for Battlefront.
Jakku.
Jakar.
What's Jakar?
Maybe I'm thinking of Jafar from Aladdin. But the fact that there's 4 planets in Battlefront and 1 is Sullust.
Yeah.
The other 3 are like super iconic. That's the fourth one they pick.
Yeah.
And when me and Mitch spoke to Patrick Bach, who's the GM of DICE at Star Wars Celebration, he said they've worked really closely with Lucasfilm on Sullust because it's the first time we've properly seen it. And they've helped define what it looked like. And they filmed on Iceland.
Yeah.
But not Iceland that we all know about, where it's just glaciers. A lot of Iceland where there's kind of the volcanoes and the very slow seeping magma, because the volcanoes in Iceland are, bit of geology here, it's not tectonic plates being pushed under one another to create a more traditional cone volcano.
Yeah.
It's because tectonic plates are moving apart, so you have very slow oozing magma rising up.
It's actually genuinely quite interesting.
That's how Iceland was formed.
Sounds
Iceland
like
didn't exist. It's the newest country on the planet.
Wow.
Because the plates are moving apart. Back to Star Wars.
Yeah.
But they're basically defining what it looks like. So I bet you, I do think it'll appear in a future movie. It could be in Force Awakens. So I think that's a very good shout, Dan.
Well done. I've got an email from Lorenzo Calder Smith. Who writes in, first, him and his friends are going to the Star Wars Secret Cinema thing on July 2nd. We went last week, and it's amazing. So if you are going to go, you're in for a treat. And they've come up with like this crazy backstory for this thing. I can't read it out because it's so long, but it is mental. It's quite funny. It's quite racy. We're not going to read it out. But he also says, as something fit for Force feedback, bloody good name, I was wondering if you ever thought about the possibility of the new films visiting Coruscant. I know the prequels never hit the heights that the classics did, but we have to admit that Coruscant was an incredible planet that had real life and depth. I do think that as well. Also, considering the Tarkin novel includes a mention of a secret Sith temple deep beneath a Jedi temple, it would be cool to see the story somehow tie into the core planets. I think that as well. We're having a lot of planet feedback today.
Very planet-centric. I think it'd be cool to visit Coruscant in maybe one of the anthology movies,
Definitely,
where you can really dig into the dirtier, darker side of it.
Definitely, and I think that's a cool idea about a secret Sith temple beneath the Jedi temple. That's a film right there. Yeah. Excellent.
Thematically appropriate.
Well done, Lorenzo.
Andrew from Dundee.
Yeah.
Or USA.
Okay.
So I don't really know how that works. I don't know how that works.
We do research good.
Hey guys, so I have a brief theory based around Han's line, Chewie.
Okay.
We're home. In the newest trailer. There are very few reasons why Han would be separated from his ship that he loves so much. One, he's been imprisoned again, maybe in carbonite again.
Yeah.
Oh God, that'd be a
I don't think
twice. Second, the ship was stolen,
to
which he would go looking for it immediately afterwards. Probably most likely, this is what Andrew says.
Yeah.
Thirdly, he lets someone he really trusts borrow it. And who does he trust most in the galaxy? Probably Chewie, but apart from Chewie, Luke.
Yeah.
So Luke borrowed it for some reason.
I think it's something different. I generally think that it's going to be, I think I've mentioned this before, but it's going to be like a Fantastic Mr. Fox style storyline with Han. And it's just like, Princess Leia doesn't want him going out and doing stuff, so she's made him sell the Millennium Falcon ages ago. And, whatever happens in the film, he needs to get a ship back. And, that's going to be a big part. He's like, right,
I just
okay.
love the fact she's made him sell it.
Yeah.
You never use it anymore.
Not that, but I think it's going to be like, you told me your days of bounty hunting, of like scavenging was over. Like, what?
It's like the idea it's parked outside.
Yeah.
Never use this.
Yeah. It's like on one of those, like, it's like on the, like one of those like, axle things.
Yeah, it's just off slightly. And like Chewie's always hanging around. You never use it anymore. Sell it to him. He's single still.
Get on Gumtree.
Thanks, Andrew.
That's what I think has happened anyway. But that's some really good feedback. If you've got anything that you want to tell us about, let us know. rebelbase@ign.com. So also at E3, we saw another Star Wars game. And unfortunately for me, I had to go play this and then go straight on to Battlefront. So I played like a Hoth level on Infinity, and then I'd go straight from the Hoth level on Infinity to the
slightly different.
The Hoth level on Battlefront. But yeah, it's the Disney Infinity 3.0.
Yeah.
Star Wars edition. Is that what it's called?
It's Disney Infinity
Star Wars
3.0.
Star Wars.
Star Wars stuff.
Okay, excellent. Well, good name. But it's the first time we've actually seen all the figures and stuff at E3, right?
Yeah, and there's like, we got to play more of it, and just like, it had already been announced before E3, but we kind of got to go and actually play it and mess about with all the figures. And there's two main components to it. There's one set that's all about kind of the prequels, and there's one set around the time of the original trilogy.
Yeah.
Now, what was announced at E3 is if you're a PlayStation 4 owner, you can get both sets at the same time in a special edition bundle.
Cool.
Whereas everyone else will have to wait a month between the two sets.
Well, that's all right.
Which is okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And at the same time, that PS4 bundle gets Boba Fett included in it.
Oh.
For everyone else, Boba Fett comes out after holidays, I think.
Right, okay.
But if you're an Xbox owner, you could still buy the PS4 bundle
Right.
to use Boba Fett, which seems elaborate because the figures aren't tethered to a particular
Oh,
system.
of course, yeah.
Anyway, big elaborate explanation there. But anyway,
Yeah.
so if PS4 has some stuff earlier.
Yeah.
But we played mainly the Hoth level.
Yeah.
And you got to have a little like drive around, kind of the more open
That's right.
Endor level.
Yeah.
But the Hoth bit was kind of cool.
It was
And
really good.
Yeah, so I've reviewed Disney Infinity 2 years in a row now.
Yeah.
I really liked the first one because I thought it was really well made. And I liked how the different sets did different things.
Yeah.
Like the Pirates of the Caribbean was kind of like a little mini Assassin's Creed Uncharted.
Yeah.
I liked the Monsters University set because it was like
That's
stealth.
really good. I
So
like
it was
that.
like encouraging you to play. Basically, kids go, this is this type of game. This
Yeah.
is this type of game.
Yeah.
Marvel, I think, obviously the license is amazing, but
Yeah.
I think they absolutely squandered it.
Yeah.
They built this open world New York where there was nothing to do
Yeah.
but fight frost giants endlessly
Yeah.
and do like fetch quests. It was almost like the worst stuff about games.
Yeah.
Like empty open world.
That's a really good
fetch
point,
quests. And yeah, it's cool that you're Iron Man and Thor and Hulk, but it was just boring. And
Yeah.
the combat was so button bashy.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like with this, they've kind of realised after that year they really need to get back on it.
Definitely,
And they
yeah.
brought in Sumo, they brought in Ninja Theory to overhaul the combat.
Yeah.
And it does definitely feel much, much better.
It's so good. Like, and I like the fact that even though obviously we were playing in the original trilogy sort of bits, I was playing with like Kanan from Rebels and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and like he's really he's quite powerful with his lightsaber and stuff.
And that's what they've done, like, because the first one was really about like, hey, the reason that we can get away with all this is because these aren't actually Mickey and Captain Jack Sparrow. They're actually
Yeah.
toys.
Yeah.
Really embracing that idea is like, hey, you're playing with toys here. And that's kind of
Yeah.
what they're doing with this. Where
Yeah, definitely.
They're not going to get too fussy. Like, if you want to play with Kanan in this, that's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And I play with Boba Fett, and like, he's got some amazing weapons.
Yeah, he's really
Like,
good.
The shooting's really good. I feel
Yeah.
like they've tightened that up a lot.
Well, I saw you taking down an AT-AT, and it wasn't just like flying around and stuff like that. You were actually like jumping up onto it and like
was a
taking
bit
it down and stuff like that.
platforming,
Yeah.
And then they play up the toy aspect because you're actually taking out batteries from
Yeah,
it,
that was funny.
which is quite cute.
I like that.
Yeah.
It was
And
really
then
really good.
What about Endor? Because that was more kind of open world. version.
It was, but the thing that I didn't like about it, I did really like it because like it was Lando giving me a couple of little quest things. But the thing I didn't like about it was what I had to do in one of the missions, or two of the missions. They just spawned like a bunch of stuff. So it'd be like, go get a speeder bike. I was like, cool, I got a speeder bike. So I did like this little mission to get a speeder bike, and then it was like, right, okay, oh no, like. Now you have to take out these troopers and these like guard towers, which weren't there like a second ago. And I was just like, they literally just spawned them so I could take them out. And I was like, that's not good, is it? Like, they're just like, oh yeah, the problem is. I was like, yeah, it's a problem because you just put it in there. Like, but I mean, maybe that was like quite early on.
Yeah, or maybe it's one of like kind of one of those missions where it sometimes happens where you've got those kind of maps and you go to a mission like waypoint and it just kind of happens.
I think that's kind of what it was. But I think like what I want is like the Lego games. You want to do all these like like tentpole like bits from the Star Wars film. That's what I want to do. Like,
that's why I think you want to do the core missions.
Yeah.
Like there's a bit where I did the trench run.
Yeah.
And that was great.
Perfect.
Like, and it again, it's really simplified because it's mainly aimed at a kid's audience, but a young audience. But it was still pretty fun, and it's always fun to like recreate those iconic moments.
Yeah, no, it definitely.
But I
was
think
awesome,
best thing by far,
Yeah.
with Disney Infinity, the toys are really good.
The toys are amazing.
Yeah.
And they're like really detailed. Like some of the Disney Infinity toys I've looked at and gone, right, they phoned that one in. But the Star Wars ones are so good. And I think I've like, as a Star Wars collector, I'd probably buy all the toys anyway just to have them. Like the Princess Leia one looks so badass.
Darth Maul one's good as well.
Yeah, Darth Maul's really, really good. Like they're
We're just
all
gonna list
all
every
amazing.
single
Yeah.
one now.
But
just something about those Star Wars, because we went at E3, they had like a little kind of exhibit of concept art.
Oh, yeah,
and
that was very cool,
maquettes
yeah,
where
yeah.
they were modelling them out of clay and they were kind of super deformed.
Yeah.
And there was this really great picture of Yoda where they showed like 5 or 6 different ways that you could possibly deform him
Yeah.
to suit the Disney Infinity style.
Right.
And each one looked great, and they've landed on one that's really good. But
Yeah.
it's like, there's something about that kind of style where it's kind of slightly exaggerated, but still
Yeah.
very recognisable that I think is really nice.
No, it was awesome. I really liked it. I'm really excited for it. I definitely will play it because I
Yeah.
don't think. I mean, as with the Marvel one, I didn't play that at all. But
Yeah, I really hope it injects a bit of quality.
Yeah.
To Disney Infinity, because I think it's like that a bit.
Yeah.
So, are you really excited for Disney Infinity 3.0 Star Wars? Let us know, rebelbase@ign.com. And until next week, for everything on Star Wars, stay right here on IGN.